Application number 477-24, Peter and Laura Glass. Permission to erect one-story addition, 24 by 29 irregular, leaving second front yard of 19 feet instead of required 50 feet. Residence AAA District, northeast corner of Lawrence Lane and Manatuck Boulevard, Bay Shore. It's the southeast corner.
Hello, Christopher Mady, representing Robert Mady Architects, 59 Sequoms Lane, West Islip, New York. We're here on behalf of Peter and Laura Glass, like you said. And I know it seems like a very big variance asked for, but being in a AAA zone and a double lot, it's a 50-foot front yard setback. The current house is 22 feet from the property line, and we're looking to encroach on that to 19 feet. Essentially, we're just adding a one-story garage to the front of the home, and we abide by the 50 feet front yard setbacks to Lawrence Lane. That's what I'm aware of. I did on the survey indicate we're 50. 25% of the house violates.
You possibly lift that up so we can see it?
This would be the current garage is 22 feet. The current use of the garage is essentially changing the garage and then car garage.
They're just projecting out.
They currently decide in
3 feet. 3 feet.
and they're relocating that.
They want to put a garage on, looking at the house on the left side. And then they'll lose those 4 windows.
We will be in the front of the home,
Yes.
but all windows on the bottom will be locked. We are going to maintain the window to the right of the chimney.
And then the chimney will be in between the garage and the house.
Oh, it'll be variance.
Would you show the front elevation?
Absolutely.
It's a pretty house, it really is.
They've lived there for quite a bit, and you know what I tell people, they like 90% of the home. Kind of in the area. So, front of the house. By the window well. Let me cut out roof. Down. Well, it's a double front yard. If you went by AAA zoning, it's also a you 5 foot. Correct. Which is their side yard. Around 17 months. Side is up to a canal. They have no rear neighbor to the north. I would assume they violate the side yard. No, yeah, I'm not saying they violated. I'm saying the home violated. Just, if I look at the photo above, Looks like this. Unfortunately, size of car. The interior garage, people for car. I don't buy the cars. The homeowner, roughly 23 feet is required. Not required. 23 feet. Oh, fully understand. I'm just letting you know, like the. Uh, 21 Lawrence. Right. It would be. I wouldn't be able to give you a guesstimate of how far. It would just. Uh, Initially, absolutely you can. I mean, you can make anything work. I would lose both windows, most likely on the second floor, which is currently a bedroom. And then the other just dilemma would, again, no one's crying like for space. It's simply the size of the body. I would defend that the house, it is just a one-story addition. No, the current home is divided into two parts. Essentially, this home had what I would assume are servants' quarters. You can only access that bedroom by a secondary stair. The space above the garage is at 7'6" collar top, simply as an attic. Uh, you could make the bulk of your house be tremendously more aggressive to both your side yard and front yard. They've enjoyed living there. They seem to want to live there for a long time. The kids are rapidly going to high school. It is. Well, everyone says they're going to build a garage in a year to solve the problems. I'm just pointing out that they're looking to stay. Their children are currently one's going to high school, the other where they know it will be not living. Some of the sports issues and mudroom issues will be resolved. But the bulk of the house, as an architect too, it's a high pitched roof line, it's a low line. The current home is 2 stories stacked on stack. You continue on that road, you would, even if you met the setback, you'd present a much stronger bulk to the neighborhood and appearance. They are looking to be mindful at it, keeping it low. They're not looking to add a second story on it. Could they meet it? Yes. They could. And they would, that'd be their termination fit a car. Correct. I'm just trying to maintain the window to the bedroom, so that's why it's slid to where it is. They can maintain it, and they can make up, their mind on their car size. That's for the homeowner, not myself. But I do think aesthetically, architecturally, I don't think it has this design. I understand you guys can't look at individual design. I don't think it poses tremendous. Right. I'm saying further down the road, I understand you're worried about the 19. I would just defend it's only a single story. I would also say if you took 25-foot side yard setback, not as aggressive as but I do recognize it's 50. And that appears to be 6 homes. I believe the homeowners did inform their neighbors prior to the meeting as well. They're not in it. I'm holding the front regardless. Yeah, they're not looking to. I personally, except for porches, which I know ISO allows, I don't fully understand ever granting a front yard setback unless the property is incredibly challenged. I wouldn't ask for a front yard setback on what I would deem the front of the street. That's this is my first variance in town of Islip. So that I'm sorry. Strongly, most of our work is in Nassau County, Old Westbury, Center Island, Brookville. This is my brother's friend, and we live around the corner from him. If it adjourns, I have until the following August meeting, or right? It might automatically adjourn to that meeting. Correct. It's 2 weeks, right, to look up addresses. I can't get it. I have to refile, I guess is what I was asking. Okay. I'd rather go shorter. Only their desire was to be able to file this fall. So, well, that's what I was going to get at. Is there a way I get 22 feet currently? I think I think all variances you try to get what you think is right for your homeowner, and if you can, like I could just I'll adjourn it. I just want to be able to give them their time frame. I'm not the homeowner. I feel that I would, as an architect, I'd accept 22 feet. If they come, if they come back and tell me like they can't do the project, try to get 19, I would feel bad. That'd make me feel more comfortable just because they're not here. Okay. That's what I was trying to avoid. No. Sounds good. Fantastic. And I know you have a lot on, so I appreciate it. My only final question. I can follow up with Mary about. Fantastic. Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. All right.
Got a reserve decision.
Application number 479-24, Brandon and Heather Cooper La Vista, permission to erect two-story dwelling on lot having width of 135 feet instead of required 150 feet throughout, and lot area of 20,039.7 square feet instead of required 40,000 square feet. Residence AAA District, north side of Meadow Lane, 156.66 feet west of South Gillette Avenue, Bayport.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, member of the boards, Len Crick, Island-wide Permit Services, office at 86 Center Street in Ronkonkoma. The La Vistas are seeking permission to construct a two-story residence in place of their current dwelling, which will be demolished. Although the lot is undersized for its AAA zoning, the new house will be more centrally positioned on the property, eliminating the need for any setback relief. For example, in case number 266-75 of May 6th of 1975, the board granted a garage addition to the east side of the existing house, leaving the current 13.7-foot side yard. The proposed new construction will result in a similarly sized dwelling with equal side yards of 30.5 feet. Any questions? I'm sorry. Mhm.
You want to be heard or you expect me to? I'm sorry. Oh, this young lady would like.
Hello, Janie Yander, 100 Meadow Lane, Bayport. Regarding this dwelling, I'm opposing the request to erect such a large building on a piece of property that clearly is not large enough, less than a half an acre. It would be unsightly and would not conform to the other homes on the street. Meadow Lane is a street of approximately 800 feet and has 4 homes. To request a variance of approximately 50% above the required regulations in a AAA district is above and beyond requirements and would not conform to the area. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman and members of the board, Joseph Miller, and my wife Sue. We're westerly of this property at 91 Meadow Lane, Bayport, been there since 1981. I don't oppose anybody enhancing the neighborhood by building new structure, adding to the tax base, and advancing the value of my property also. My bigger concern is that by granting this, there's a major issue with regard to the property, that the applicant is a drywaller, builder, constructor. He's also a full-time policeman in Lynbrook, I believe, but he's also got a building business. And a couple of years ago, he put a driveway to the west, which borders right on mine, that gravel driveway, cut down trees. That doesn't belong there, but I assume he did it anyway. He also is in a position that I don't know, his former address, I have here for the board, I'd like for the record, 4 packets. His LLC, he was in Sayville. The address is not updated here. He hasn't updated it for a couple of years. And his LLC uses an address in Sayville, which is now a private residence. He's not there. There's no construction equipment around it. Unfortunately, around our house, we have to, 9 months of the winter, look at his storage of construction equipment, several pickups. He gets deliveries from Riverhead Lumber. He gets deliveries from other things. There's photographs here showing the deliveries he gets, and I have no problem with him enhancing the community. But please, there's 3 filed complaints. Yeah, yeah. My concern is that if he builds a bigger and better house, his Blue Line LLC will be an office in this building, and he'll feel that he can park more equipment and construction vehicles 24/7. Condition. All right. Do you have, I'm sorry. Oh, yes, that's my point. I would understand what you're saying. I'm asking you to condition it upon him complying, because there's 3 complaints with code enforcement. And, sure, I wouldn't be up here before yabba dabba doing if I didn't. Right, but you could wait. Oh, but you could hold it up, just like when we have open permits and we don't close them. If he has open violations, why should you grant him a variance? That's all I'm asking, that's the only thing. I want him to enhance the neighborhood. I just don't like having construction trucks on the driveway and deliveries. It's not a depot. I didn't say he had open site. I said code compliance has been advised there's 3. I don't know how fast they're working. Oh, I agree. That's why I gave you the photographs. I wouldn't have it. I wouldn't give you something, but yes. Starting in January through a couple of weeks ago. I just am asking, yes, go ahead. This is my wife, Sue, maybe she, go ahead.
A letter was sent to the homeowner. He did not reply. We've made 3 complaints to the town. And I was told this morning that they did not follow up on it. We're just concerned, and you can see his trailers even on this map,
And the
right
driveway.
on our property line. So how big is he going to make this house? There's no indication here how big it's going to be, I believe.
And where's he gonna park his vehicles? He's already put 2 driveways in, and I don't think it's legal. I know, fine. I'm just asking if you can hold it off until the other time downstairs gets it resolved. Okay. Well, then if I could just have that as attached to the record that I was here, that I have no objection to him getting his variance. I just would like to see this not become a depot for Riverhead lumber and suppliers. He has people showing up for work that drop their vehicles off or leave all their vehicles, or whatever. I appreciate your help and thank you for your patience. I maybe next time use the next gentleman that was before me, so you'll have a second. Members of the board, just want to reiterate that we're here to seek permission for a new house that is roughly the same size as what currently exists, and we're expanding the side yards. The second driveway, that would require permission from the highway department, and I have not been told of any requests for that from the owners yet. I know there is a second driveway there. There is an object in the photo there. When I was last there, there was nothing there. The driveway was there, but no vehicles in it. Well, that is a code enforcement issue that they would have to comply with.
Not necessarily, no, unfortunately. So staging, what sounds to me is what the neighbors were trying to say is going on in the morning. Staging is actually very hard for code enforcement to nail down and issue a violation on. It's when employees show up, leave their cars there, get in a work vehicle and leave from the house. Something that's not supposed to happen in residential neighborhoods. And I can say that it's probably a challenge for code enforcement to actually write that violation.
May I ask our legal counsel, what do we do when we believe that
Anyone else would like to be heard this afternoon?
Thank you.
Application number 479-24, Francis and Lisolette Rivera. Permission to establish accessory apartment pursuant to Town Code Section 68-602, having gross floor area of 848 square feet instead of permitted 800 square feet. To leave roofed over porch having rear yard of 17.5 feet instead of required 25 feet, resulting in floor area ratio of 33.5% instead of permitted 25%, and patio having rear yard of 3.5 feet instead of required 4 feet. Residence B District, northwest corner of North Bayport Avenue and Coulter Street, unopened, Bayport.
Good evening, Christopher Ang, 93 Main Street, West Sayville. This dwelling and the roofed over porch, the rear and the side is all existing. So the FAR that we're asking for, the 33.5. I understand it's more than, the board usually grants, but I would like to point out that what we're asking for is to maintain and not to build. The rear porch is 520 square feet, and if we took that percent off of the overall, we would be at 27.5% without that porch, that existing porch. The rear yard setback also is an existing setback that we would like to maintain. It's 17.5 instead of the 25 feet. And the last thing I'd like to point out is the apartment is larger than what's allowable, but we're using the existing first floor without the garage to build the apartment. So that's the reason that we're going over the square footage by, I think, 38 square feet. Yeah, 38 square feet. Oh, sorry, 48 square feet. Okay. I mean, how can I argue with that? Would 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 the board consider a nice round number of 33%? More, more. Yeah, it is all existing, so that's why I'm asking. It's just, that's correct. That's correct. It's just over a patio, and the owner would definitely agree to never finish that out as living space. Thank you.
Dan, and I don't know what second that is. Application number 480-24, Caleb Hannicket, permission to leave accessory structure having height of 16 feet instead of permitted 14 feet and driveway having front yard occupancy of 43.7% instead of permitted 40%. Residence B District, south side of Root Avenue, 100 feet west of Roosevelt Avenue, Islip.
Christopher Ang, 93 Main Street, West Sayville. The height of the accessory structure was before the board a few years back. I had asked for 15 feet instead of what it is actually. It's actually 16 feet. And what I'm actually saying, when it's actually 16 feet, the property was regraded. The structure did not change. But during the grading and the new survey, we found out that the height of the structure is actually 16 feet and not 15 feet. We were granted 15 feet a few years back. And as far as the driveway goes, I don't feel that the relaxation on the driveway is that much, and it's just a minimal relaxation on the driveway.
So if you could just refresh the board's memory, since the motion was made by a board member right here. When you sought the relief for the 15 instead of 14, you were also explaining to the board that you'd be converting what was a cottage to a legally approvable accessory structure.
That's correct. So that certificate of compliance is approved, and we're at the very end of the process, and we're looking to just close out both permits, the certificate of compliance on the existing accessory structure and also the two-story house that we built on the property.
So when you say the CFC was approved, the permit was approved.
The permit is approved,
CFC has not been issued, obviously.
correct. We're waiting on this variance for it to be issued.
So what did they do? They regraded, they lowered all the land around it?
During the process of building the house, not we, but the contractor had graded the property, keeping all the water runoff, away from the structures. And during that process, when we actually got the final survey, we realized that the height of the accessory structure is taller than what we originally asked for.
I mean, my thought process is if we were to, regrade it, bring in more, but if we were to grant it, then I think we have to.
That's correct. And I will never use this case. I will never use this case for another case.
No, but I'm saying, if it started at, oh, so it started at 15. Yeah, so.
Yeah, the three of us you two are not full.
That's correct. That's correct. No, I just want to clarify that. We had to adhere to the today's code for the accessory structure. So it's finished storage, and we are allowed to have one half bath, and that's what we have in the structure. And we actually, the second story is attic space only, and the rest of the structure is open. So we actually adhere to today's code for the accessory structure. Thank you.
Application number 481-24, Marlon Garcia, permission to leave detached garage, 19.3 by 27, having side yard of 5.2 feet instead of required 10 feet, and rear yard of 2.5 feet instead of required 10 feet, shed in front yard not having required 20 feet behind the front line of the dwelling, 6-foot fence having front yard of 5 feet instead of required 15 feet, 4-foot fence in sight distance triangle instead of permitted height of 3 feet, and driveway on side property line not having required setback of 4 feet. Residence A District, northwest corner of Wheeler Road and McGowan Lane, Central Islip.
Good evening again, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Roxanne Trella, Dynamic Expediting Services with offices at 231 Islip Avenue, Islip, New York. I'm going to start with the hardest part of it all, the driveway on the side property line instead of 4 feet. And then I did actually go out to the site today to take a couple of photos that I would like to pass up if possible, Jay. Just because the way the call was reading, it seemed a little bit more difficult than it actually is. So this property is on Wheeler Road. It is a very well-trafficked road. Right across the street from it, we have the Central Islip High School. We also have a public bus stop. So it is a heavily trafficked area with cars and with property, and with people, I'm sorry. The 6-foot fence that has a front yard of 5 feet instead of the required 15 feet is actually only a small portion of the fence. So even though the property's address is Wheeler Road, they actually use McGowan Lane, the side street, as the front yard to their home. That's where their driveway is. That's where they enter the property because of the highly trafficked area on Wheeler Road. So the line of the dwelling where it ends there and the rest of the property, that's what the property owners utilize as the rear yard. So that's the portion of the fence that is 6 feet. The rest of the fence actually tapers down. The survey does read 4 feet. It's one of those fences that kind of varies in size and it goes higher and lower. So the pole is at 4 feet, but then it goes up and down from 3 to 3.5. It also has a 4-foot fence in the site distance triangle instead of the permitted 3 feet. Again, this is around the curb on Wheeler Road and McGowan. It's kind of a circular shaped fence. The pole itself is 4 feet. The fence is more 3, and it does have certain areas where it goes a little bit higher than the 3. So I did take a photo of that as well, so that you could see it. And then we have the detached garage. So the detached garage is 521 square feet, has a side yard of 5.2 and a rear yard of 2.5. The garage is located in the rear corner of the property. The property adjacent to ours also has a detached garage, similar in size. It's the same height. When you look at them side by side, they look like the same exact garage. And then the property behind ours also has a detached garage, similar in size, and similar in height. That garage actually received a variance, but since it's right under the 500 square feet, but they were granted 1 foot off the property line instead of the 4 feet required back in 1989 under case number 563-89. And I do have those photos if you wanted to get a clearer picture of the fence and the area. I went out there in the rain today. While the power was out, I made my time useful and I went out. Yes. And this detached garage is only 13 feet high, not 16 feet high. Just wanted to add that in there.
Not a detached garage.
Should reflect accessory structure, pretty much, yeah.
Right. Can't drive a car to it.
Yeah, it's the accessory structure.
Right.
It's very detached from reality.
It doesn't have any walls.
Yeah. Walls, right, that one.
Well,
Construction vehicles,
to my knowledge, there's no
no
construction
illegal
vehicles.
tenants.
So, inform us, please. The 6-foot fence to start with, it's, 15 along the roadway there. Kind of did allude to this. It does seem like the applicant is trying to orient their property the way where they wish to make some out. From the design of it, you can see the driveway that's fenced in a way where they even considering that, it's even like, yeah, this is not the case here, but it's still non-conforming completely. Fence in the side triangle is a bit of a different one. Know exactly how low down it doesn't appear to be scouts. Probably not exactly. Probably it's close. I don't know. Here. And then the accessory structure. Both of those are very non-conforming. Is 521 square feet. So that's it. If we or
And right next to it is another accessory structure, basically almost the same size, same height. I did put a picture where you could see the two tops of both garages. They look pretty much identical. And then right behind it is another detached garage. I was gonna say, that doesn't look like it. It's not there.
This is.
And the one right behind it and the one diagonal to it. So it's basically like all four corners have all their accessory structures right there. Thank you. I was so concerned about the driveway. I mean, I know the 6-foot fence, we usually don't grant it unless it's, the exception, and this lot is slightly larger than that. I think being where this house is located helps it stand apart and not going to be utilized as a precedent. You have a school across the street, you have a public bus right there, you have a very highly trafficked area. It's not your typical.
On its own, I don't even know if we could, everything that they're looking.
I think this garage was built literally, so it's 27 feet. And so they came out 1 foot extra, but because it's 27 feet long, that gives you the 22 over. So it's literally, it was off by 1 foot from where it needed to be technically. What's that? Well, not now that it's built. Unfortunately, it would cost a considerable amount to take off 1 foot of the garage. I agree.
Application number 482-24, Rosa. Oh,
Sorry? What got denied? Who was denied? Were you in favor of it?
Basically everything.
Everything except for the driveway.
Yeah, they have to start over. They have to start over.
everything but the driveway, so the shed, yes,
Well, no, it's
It's closed, the application's closed.
No, because the representative has left, so, yeah. She would have to be here to hear it. How far did I get? Urquiza. Permission to leave one-story addition 4.8 by 4.7, resulting in floor area ratio of 34% instead of permitted 25%. Shed setback 5 feet behind the front line of the dwelling instead of the required 20 feet. And driveway having front yard occupancy of 48.7% instead of permitted 40%. Residence B District, south side of Expressway Drive South, 132 feet west of Brentwood Parkway, Brentwood.
Good evening. My name is Cynthia. This is my aunt, Rosa.
Rosa Urquiza, 1414 Express Drive South in Brentwood, New York.
Yeah, so she's here today because she wants to seek approval from the board to make the,
Do you have a full name?
Cynthia Carrera. Carrera, Carrera. So she's seeking approval from the board to make the adjustments that are outlined on this plot plan was given to her by the architect.
We have it.
Okay, so she is making a lot of adjustments and she just wants to see if she could get the approval from the board to maintain some items as is. And it's ultimately your decision to make. She also has letters of support from the neighbors, if you guys want to see that as well.
And he's got a ticket. You can, I was about to. You can probably answer.
Nick, the addition is 4.8. That didn't get them to 34%. What was it this? Now,
the 33.7.
right.
Yeah, I did like
So,
this.
but they were CO'd at 33. I mean, they didn't get 34% of the large that they offered. They didn't get there by this addition.
No,
So I'm wondering, was that existing and they just did a little addition?
the best of my knowledge, I mean, CO is this includes a lot of.
He's a heathen. I'll tell you why in a second.
Very well. Anyone else like Earth?
I don't think she would be able to move the shed. I don't think she would be able to move the shed.
No, sí lo puedo mover. Ya, podemos mover, podemos parar que lo mueva. Okay.
Okay, so now she's telling me she'll be willing to move the shed a little bit. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. For the record, Joseph F. Bazell, Bland of Visconti, 535 Broad Hollow Road, Suite B4 in Melville. The application seeks variance and relief related to re-subdividing two lots. Lot 1 will contain the existing home, Lot 2, the new home. The property is at the southwest corner of Lexington Ave and Joshua's Path. It is L-shaped. It has two lots on the filed map of Motor Parkway acreage going back to 1929 rather, lots 1840 and 1841. So it started as two buildable lots. The combined lot area is 38,306.44 square feet, or 95.7 required for two lots, or 195.7 for an individual lot. It is improved with a one-story house built in 1952. And if you look at the CO says it was built on lot 1840. And in 52, these lots were in arm's length unrelated ownership. In 1958, a kitchen and a living room were put on. Why they put the house in the location they did, I have no idea, but a lot of the variances come from that fact. But again, it was 1952. Yeah, I mean, that is the meat on the application tonight. That is the one obvious question on tonight's application. The rest are de minimis. There's a few points and there's a possible adjustment. Number one, it doesn't face the side yard of the adjacent house, it faces the rear yard. The rear yard requirement in iSlip is 25. That house would have 72.73, or almost 3 times the requirement. So the house-to-house distance under the iSlip code would be 25 plus 18 in a case where you had a backyard to a side yard. In here, we're 81.8, way over that. It is only the corner of the house. It's not the full wall of the house. And it is, it's just that one kind of tip, and obviously it's there. We could move the lot line between the two lots. If you moved it 8.6 feet, that side yard would be compliant. I've been involved in this thing since Friday. So I got retained on Friday. So, you know, it kind of is as it is. I can understand that. It reduces lot 2. That's unavoidable. And the house-to-house distance would be unchanged. So it's not like the owner of the new home would have a benefit from a further separation from the other lot, it's the same distance, which is already much more than the code would require. And it's just to the corner of the house. It's about 860 square feet. Correct. And it was built in, no, in 52, the lots were not in common ownership. In 56, they came into related ownership with the husband owning one lot and the husband and wife owning the others. But they really didn't come together till 67 when the church bought it. 52, CO says 52. I don't know what they were contemplating when they put that house on. Correct, and it was built with a with a substandard front yard setback on Lexington too. But that was the zoning at the time, you know? What building has done here is said, the front yard setback grandfathers in because it goes back to the original construction. Those two little awning places came up later, so they would need a variance, but those variances are marginal. And then since the subdivision reestablishes these as separate and independent lots, because that's how they started. Yes, that's exactly where, right, if you look at the bottom right-hand corner, it says Motor Parkway acreage, 1925. And if you look at and it says you have two lots, 1840 and 1841. The lot with the house is 1841. You could see that on the survey. The house was CO'd as it exists now. At 9.4 in 1952. Maybe if I had a little more time to prepare, I would have gotten into more of that. My father was an engineer. He was good with math. I'm not that good. We're reestablishing what was at the beginning. It- it-
25% or more of the houses on the same side of the block have an increased setback, then you have to endeavor to average that setback and impose it. So I think the call of the meeting was written
It was
by
written in December.
engineering's minor
Right,
subdivision.
it's now a 40-foot setback. I have been waiting for that code amendment for a long time. And if the town would have waited another 6 months, I would have come into the pool on that.
Yes. So we can amend it, but it's really not necessary either because we'd be amending it toward conformity.
Yeah.
So,
it's kind of-
yeah. I thought you were going to bring up the driveway.
Ah, yes. I forgot. So, yeah, so town has concerns with the.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't surprise, I would be surprised if that driveway survived the subdivision. You know, it's close to the intersection.
Yes.
What we see in the back right now is the construction entrance, that kind of crosshatched piece, and there'll be a new driveway on the existing house and a driveway on Lexington for the new home, but I tend to think it's going to move towards down Lexington Avenue to the rear of the house.
Yeah, we're going to be on-
We could do that. You know, we don't want to move it all the way to the back because then it's inconvenient for the homeowners. But moving it away from the incidents to the rear of the house, you know, can work. Yeah, sure. That's fine. I think that's better, actually. No, you're never difficult. When have you ever been difficult? Yeah, we're still working on that. That's acceptable. Lot 2. Thank you very much. Have a great night.